Right now, we are learning much more about the Georgia State Senate and about its ability to subpoena Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in regards to her prosecution of President-elect Donald Trump.
A Fulton County Superior Court judge making that ruling. It comes as part of the ongoing effort to look into possible misconduct by the DA. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy joining us live in studio with a look at the latest developments and what comes next here. So, Erica, is this another setback for Willis?
Well, it's been an ongoing battle for Fulton County DA Fani Willis. First, the Court of Appeals ruled that she's disqualified from leading the election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump and his co-defendants. And now a Fulton County judge has ruled that Willis can be subpoenaed by the Georgia Senate. The ruling was issued today by Fulton County Superior Court Judge Shakira Ingram after lawyers for the Senate sought to compel Willis to comply with the Senate's request earlier this year to come testify before them as they look into whether or not Willis is guilty of misconduct. That misconduct allegations stem from her personal relationship with former special prosecutor Nathan Wade. A lawyer for Willis tells the Associated Press that she plans to appeal this decision with the Georgia Supreme Court, in part because some of the documentation she's been asked to turn over to the Senate is confidential and could possibly compromise the election interference case.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, if you are not a member of the community, if you are not one of the blackity blacks, you might want to turn this video off, because sometimes in the black community, we like to get together and have conversations amongst ourselves where we can get some get right, where we can get some act right, where we can try to have iron sharpen iron so that when we present ourselves to the broader public, we are in better shape. This is one of those conversations that I think needs to be had, because we have an epidemic of sisters who are putting themselves out there as plantation plants, as beholden to the Democrat Party, the Democrat plantation, and they are willing to die on the hill of the Democrat Party. They are willing to fall on their swords for this party, who is not loyal to them at all in the least. You have a Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is highly educated, very smart woman, but so beholden to the Democrat plantation that she can't even tell us what a woman is. You got Judge Chutkin over there in Washington, D.C., who was putting some unfair rulings on the record against Donald Trump because she wanted him prosecuted. She wanted him convicted in her courtroom. She stacked the cards against him. Yeah, you got Letitia James in New York. Boy, she's so honorary, boy. Even after Donald Trump won, she came out and made a speech saying, "Oh, I was prepared for this. This is not going to deter me. We're still going to push forward." And then you got good old Fani Willis, Fulton County's finest or worst, depending on which way you looking at it. This woman gonna pull a RICO on Donald Trump and his associates. And when that thing built on a foundation of sand, one of the weakest foundations we've ever seen a criminal RICO case built upon, this woman, she's standing here looking like an idiot before the entire country. Not just before Fulton County, y'all, she looking like an idiot before the world, because she brought this case and this case has crumbled. I don't know what made her think she could pull this off. Now, shout out to Fani, because she did milk Fulton County taxpayers for about $250,000 that she funneled through her baby boo. Okay, but all of that is going to come out to light as well. Y'all, everything seems to be falling apart for these people, these women who seem to be beholden to the party. And it's so interesting to me, because in this 2024 election, you got so many brothers out here who said, you know what? I'm tired of voting against my own interests. I want to be a man. I want to be a leader. I want to be down for my family. I want to be down for my community. I'm going to make decisions when it comes to voting. I'm going to make decisions that are better for me and my family in my community because I want lower taxes. I want better job opportunities. I want you to shut down that border. Well, I want you to lower crime. Well, y'all, here we are. It has brought about a division in the community, and we got to have this conversation. I ain't even gonna go too deep into it because I know some of y'all ain't checked out when I told you to with the disclaimer. I know y'all still listening, so we ain't gonna make it too blackety black. But I need y'all to realize that these black women in positions of power throughout this country have forsaken the community. See, they ain't for us at all. No, they out for their own power. They out for their own bread. They have to get what they can get. Don't matter who the taxpayers are. Don't matter about the community. Don't matter about black men, black brothers. No, these sisters ain't down for you, sir. Matter of fact, they're going to be more indignant that you voted against their plantation. They're going to feel some kind of way about that. Pull up to somebody in the club talking about, yeah, I'm MAGA. See what happened. This woman has forsaken the taxpayers of Fulton County. She has forsaken the taxpayers of the state of Georgia. And now she is so rebellious, y'all, that she don't even want to go before the Senate who is calling her to testify. She is so indignant. She's saying, I don't want to testify. I don't want to tell y'all nothing. She's withholding information.
The other big hallmark case, obviously, is still also ongoing, so tell me what you can about it. But, you know, with the re-election of now President-elect Donald Trump, he was also at the center of the election indictment. What do you do now? Because we've got this Supreme Court precedent now that says sitting presidents really can't be charged for some of the things that they did in office. With him now having the protection of the White House, how do you proceed as it relates to just his portion of this case?
I'm not going to talk to you about a case. Let me talk to you about a young lawyer and a lawyer that's got a little age on her. When I became a lawyer, I believe that all the smartest people were the judges, right? That's who rose to the top. I've been a little disheartened as I've gone on to practice law. But what I can tell you about me as a district attorney, I didn't indict anyone who I did not believe committed a crime in any case. And all of our more serious felony cases were indicted because a grand jury decided that there was enough evidence there to indict them. And so it is our plan, if someone has an indictment in this office, no matter who they are, we continue to pursue those charges. I can't be responsible for what judges and what courts will do. That will be decisions that they make, but I hope we get to see a little courage in leaders.
What about no matter how long it takes? Is that something that you think about too?
I'm patient. That's what age teaches you, is patience. I've been patient in the way we do our work. And, you know, I'm here for 8 more years is my plan. And so if that's what it takes for us to get justice in some cases, we come to work every day. We'll come to work.
This woman, I wonder who convinced her that this was a good idea. Who convinced you, little lady, little prosecutor down there in Fulton County, that you could go against the former president of the United States? See, y'all, I went to law school just like Fani, with some black women in my class that were intelligent, capable, sharp, driven. I know they could lead this country into a better direction. But somehow this Democrat Party keeps picking folks like this. Keeps picking folks like Letitia James. Keeps picking folks like Judge Chutkin. Keeps making the same mistake over and over. And these black women keep falling for it. Now, this woman, in my opinion, deserves to be in prison because she embezzled that money. Yeah. Yeah, you paid your boo. Sometimes he was billing 24 hours a day for legal services. Bro, you ain't sleep? You didn't take a break for lunch or nothing? You grinded it out for a whole 24, huh? Well, when it comes to taxpayers, people like this don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about their power. And that's why all these black women are beholden to that plantation who has given them the power thus far. But oh my goodness, y'all, things are about to change.
Today asked Merchant whether she had reason to believe that Willis or Nathan Wade were coordinating with the Biden White House over the course of the Trump investigation. Listen.
Open records for the White House access, and we had records that Ms. Willis and the mayor of Atlanta were at meeting with the vice president.
Fani Willis and Nathan Wade have testified that they did not become romantically involved until after she hired him to help investigate the Trump case in November of 2021. But as you heard from Ashley Merchant's testimony earlier today, the defense is alleging that the romance started much earlier than that. Harris?
So, Jonathan, I just want to get this straight because I've got a former U.S. attorney coming up next. And I want to make sure I have my facts straight. What was the deal with the meeting at the White House? Did you say the Vice President Kamala Harris?
Said that several people were meeting at the White House. Of course, the nature of that meeting was not expressed. It could have been some Democratic event or a social event.
But who was in it?
But the implication that they're trying to get at was that allegedly there may have been some coordination with this case, but they don't have any hard evidence of that at this point because the receipts, and this is something that Ashley Merchant pointed out, that Nathan Wade submitted are very vague. They just mention that he met with White House counsel or met with White House, but doesn't go into any detail as to what the meetings were.
A judge rules Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis can be subpoenaed by the state Senate. This comes as they continue to investigate possible misconduct during her prosecution of President-elect Donald Trump. Fox 5's Eric Perry is at the live desk on the story. Eric, what is the latest on this development?
Yeah, Christine, this comes just weeks after a state appeals court removed Willis from the Georgia election interference case against President-elect Trump. Now, DA Willis has until January 13th to submit arguments before a final order is ruled. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is back in the spotlight after Superior Court Judge Shakira Ingram ruled she can face a subpoena by the Georgia State Senate. The Republican-led Senate committee is looking into whether she engaged in misconduct during her prosecution of President-elect Donald Trump.
They are the head of all prosecutions in their county. So therefore, no one should be able to question them, right? Well, the Georgia Senate disagrees with that.
Trial attorney and political analyst Joshua Schiffer breaks down the decision. According to the ruling, Willis has until January 13th to submit arguments over whether the subpoenas require her to provide confidential information. Judge Ingram will then issue a final order saying what Willis has to respond to.
Prosecutors are used to strong independence and the exclusive duties and privileges of their position.
Former Georgia Governor Roy Barnes represents Willis in the case and says they want the ruling overturned and they plan to appeal. This also comes after a 2-1 ruling by the State of Appeals Court earlier this month, removing Willis from the Georgia election interference case against President-elect Trump, citing, quote, an appearance of impropriety. Willis's office is asking the Georgia Supreme Court to review that decision. This fight going back months. The Senate committee hoped to question Willis back in September, but she skipped that meeting. The committee turned to Judge Ingram in October, asking for Willis to comply with the subpoenas. Schiffer says, don't expect anything major to happen soon.
What this really does is moves the ball forward to an eventual date where Fani Willis will either have to show up and testify and bring some information.
Yeah, we know there's a lot to keep track of here, and here's something else to keep in mind. The current Georgia legislative term ends when new lawmakers are sworn in for their new term. Republican State Senator Greg Dolezal of Cumming says he plans to file to reestablish this committee at the beginning of the 2025 legislative session. We've reached out to the district attorney's office. We're waiting to hear back. But again, just something else adding on for her office there.
Now, y'all, this woman has been kicked off the case. She has been disqualified from prosecuting Donald Trump. Yeah, she got the boot. She got the boot to the backside, and I know it hurts so bad because all of her dirty laundry is about to be exposed. I believe it was Killer Mike that said, yeah, you got Fulton County, you got Atlanta area where you got all these blackity blacks in positions. We got mayors and city officials and whatnot in Atlanta, but you get 15 minutes outside Atlanta, and that's Georgia. Well, ain't had to tell me twice. I understood exactly what he meant. Now you're about to get a Georgia prosecutor to take over this case, to review the documentation on this case. You think an outside prosecutor outside of Fulton County is going to prosecute Donald Trump? You out your mind. And I'm still talking to the community. I hope y'all listening. How can we put ourselves in such a position that we make mistakes like this? Well, she's money motivated, she's power motivated, and she funneled $750,000 reportedly to her boo. And then she got it back on the back end by taking vacations and junkets all over the world. Exotic vacations and dinners and cruises and trips and all sorts of things. She should be held accountable. The people of Georgia should be angry. The community should be angry. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I don't see enough anger amongst the people. Where the blackity black anger at? It's not enough for brothers just to vote MAGA. It's not enough for brothers just to vote Republican and conservative. No, we got to take control of the community and make it a community once again, because I believe it is so fractured by women like this. Fani Willis. People like Letitia James, people like Judge Chutkin, people like Ketanji Brown Jackson. We got some issues we got to work out, y'all. And you remember back in the day, they would call a family meeting and we come together with no outside voices, get inside that meeting. We close everybody out. We come together. We have a meeting of the minds amongst ourselves. We fix it in-house. That way, when we go back out amongst the public, we unify, we together, we good. We have an understanding of how we're going to move going forward. I believe as a community, we have yet to get there. There is much division amongst the people. You think Fani Willis is the last? No, no. There are plenty more Fani Willises in the community who are willing to take her place when she get knocked out, when she get disqualified, when she get boot to tail. Plenty of women in the Black community that are willing to take her place and do exactly what she did, willing to crash out for that party, for that plantation. We got work to do, y'all. And I hope we can have some in-house conversations that lead to progress amongst us. Because you can't depend on them folks to fix us and our issues. No, we got to fix us. That way, when we go out amongst them people, we got ourselves together. That's what Big Mama would have said. Big Mama would have told Fani Willis to go get the switch. Big Mama would have wore Letitia James out. Because you're corrupt. You done gone against biblical principles. You're doing things that are not right, that are not the way you were raised, that are not the way you were taught. You have turned against God and turned against America because you want power and you want money. Well, she fleeced y'all in Georgia for that money. She got away with a lick. Y'all gonna let her get away with that? Georgia? I'm gonna sit here and wait to see how y'all move on that. But it seems like this Senate is subpoenaing her, and a judge has ruled that she gonna have to sit before that Senate in Georgia, according to Killer Mike. She's gonna have to answer some real questions. She's gonna have to divulge some real facts. Well, I can't wait. I will sit here for it because this sister felt so empowered by that plantation that they put her up on a pedestal and she put herself out there. She risked it all. She risked it all. She bet the farm and she lost. Y'all know what that means. That means you lose the farm. Well, we're going to find out what happens to Fani in this situation. It ain't looking good, but God willing, Fani will be an example to other little girls in the community. Don't do what Fani did. This sister made a mistake of epic proportions. She's blown an entire career. She's blown her reputation. Everybody connected to her is now toxic because of her actions, because of her decisions, because of her loyalty to the Democrat plantation. Y'all, let me know what you think about this and all these sisters who have pledged their allegiance to the Democrat Party. I ain't feeling it. And according to the election results, there's plenty other brothers out here in the community that ain't feeling it either. In unprecedented numbers. And I'm here for it. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this Fani Willis situation as she continues to crash out there in Georgia. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.